Okay, so thank you, Paddy, for joining today.
Thank you. It's a great opportunity for us, no matter what, to continue to deliver this work. So there will be people who will watch it later on Facebook. It's really important work, especially these little paradigms.
I fully agree. I mean, today's topic is one of the best. It's for me a life changer because I start understanding what is going on, especially during my corporate work. I did not understand. I sat with the employees, people reporting to me. I gave them the instruction. I gave them the guidelines, what they need to do, and so on. We agreed on everything. They said, yes, we're going to do it. They do it one day, second day, then they stop. So what the heck? Does this guy understand or doesn't understand what I'm saying? And this was a true story. One of my best employees, I remember him. He's a top performer, but his challenge is always he doesn't want to come on time at 9 o'clock to the work. He always come at 11. So I sat with him. Yeah, but he's doing his work at home, doing some calls, then comes, but he's staying late working. So this is it's a habit. So I sat with him one time discussing, hey, you need to do this and this because I have an office. And you cannot be a bad example for the other employees. And you should be consistent following the, office policy. So he said, I promise you from tomorrow, I will be prompt at 9. 3 days, he was coming on time. 4th day, he started creating excuses. Then it's like a history. Then when I started learning about the paradigm and the power of habits, I said, oh my God, now this is why it's not just talking to people can really change them. It's not that one, because these are things is becoming a habit. You need some time to develop a new habit. So maybe I'll be sharing some slides, then I'll give it to you, Paddy. Yeah, you're good in sharing also about paradigms and experience. So yeah, let me just share some of the slides. Wait, all right, yeah. So now, yesterday, where we talked about goals and the importance of setting goals. All right, and there are always two things people, when they set a goal, they need to know. First, where they are, and the second, all right, where they're going. So simple. For example, I want to set up a new company. It's a simple goal. Hey, we have Joanne is joining.
Hi, Joanne. Yeah, hi, Joanne.
Yeah, she's still on mute. No worries. So normally when people set goals, and I assume everyone who watched yesterday, they need to prepare to come with a goal. So two things people need to know: where they are now and where they're going. So simple. I'm heading to set up a new company, a new business. I want to write a book, and so on. Although it is so simple and obvious, but still many people cannot achieve their goals. Many, and I was one of them, to be honest. When it did not work, oh, the goal is too big. I cannot do this one. It's really challenging. And that start creating all those excuses. And I thought the problem always here in the goal itself. The real issue is never, it's the goal, your objective, what you're trying to achieve is never been the problem. What I found out, and maybe you're aware also of this, Paddy and Joanne, the problem always where you are today. This is what is holding many people back. It's not the goal, is where you are. And this is what we call it is your paradigm. And when we start talking about the paradigm, I mean, you agree with that employee, you have to come on time. He promised you 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, he comes on time to the office, then he forget. Come on, so simple. Why he cannot come on time? And the reason is where he was. And like each one of us is the paradigm. And what are the paradigm is our power of habits and beliefs. So, Paddy, you would like to talk about paradigm? Oh, you want
You know, you're right. I mean, for me, the amazing thing about paradigms, they are habitual. It's habitual way of thinking. And I think that probably 98% of the time we're not even aware of it, that we're thinking in a certain way. Like your employee that is always late, you know, they can make it for 3 or 4 days on time. And then they get into a habitual way of behaving and a habitual way of thinking. And they forget that in order to change that paradigm, you've got to create a new habit. So is that get up 15 minutes earlier? Is it not watch the news in the morning, read the newspaper, whatever it is that they're doing? And people just don't realize it. And we fall back so easily. Another great one, and I as a woman, and I think men too, but I know a lot of women, diets, which, as you know, Bob says, don't try to lose weight because we're always geared to look for what we lost. But this whole thing of, you know, you're going along and you say, okay, I'm on a diet, and you start to lose some weight. And then all of us, for me, it's bread. I'm not going to eat any bread. And I do really well. And then I start to lose weight and then I'm happy. And so what do? I go and get bread. And I say, why? Oh, I deserve it. No, why? You don't what? You deserve this all over again? You're going to have to go through it all over again. And it's just this habitual thinking. And it's what, you know, Bob talks about in lesson 2, which is the knowing doing gap. Why am I doing that? I don't know. I know better. Why am I doing it? I don't really know. And I think, you know, paradigms, they're mental programs. It's the way we and our external world has allowed our subconscious mind to be programmed. And it is, I always call them like stealth bombers, you know, those planes that fly under the radar and you don't know they're coming. And then all of a sudden they drop their bombs and boom. And to me, that's what paradigms are. And we just don't know that they're happening because they're very behavioral, they're habitual. It's just we don't even think about it. We're just sort of a knee-jerk reaction. And shifting them, I really want to watch the language that we use when we talk about paradigms, because I have colleagues in this business, people probably whom you also know, Mohammad, like, we got to kill these paradigms. We got to conquer these paradigms. I'm like, no, that's just more negative talk. And I've come in my study of the human mind to understand that paradigms are very natural, whether they come from the outside or whether they come from the inside. Every human being has a mind that is capable and is doing the same thing all the time. As Bob says, you know, the mind is not a thing. It's an attitude. It's an activity. It's a movement. It's not a thing. No one has ever seen the mind, as we will talk about that in a minute. But, you know, every one of us has this little chatter box in our heads. It doesn't matter. It's like, you can't do that. That's not good. You shouldn't do that. I don't think you should do that. Oh, this is a good idea. Why don't you do that? You should do this. This will work. Never ever stops. It's like CNN of your mind or your brain that goes 24/7, analyzing every situation. And what I've come to know in my study over the years of the mind, we must embrace our mind, because when our mind builds these paradigms, it says you can't do that, you're going to make a fool of yourself, you're going to fall flat in your face, you're going to look like an idiot, you're not enough. It's really the mind saying, okay, now look, I don't want you to get hurt. So why don't you just stay right over here where it's nice and safe? The mind just does this. The paradigm is not really our enemy, I've come to realize. There's no point declaring war on the paradigm, because every human being alive 24 hours a day has a chatter going on in their brain, and most of it is to try to keep you safe. It goes back to our early days of survival. And the mind is just geared to keep us safe. So it'll say, you don't do that. That's not a good idea because it doesn't want you to go out into that unknown territory. So my experience now with changing paradigms is when I find myself with that negative, so-called negative paradigm, I just say, well, thank you very much, dear mind of mine, for that information. But that's not really serving me today. And today I'm going to take control of my thinking. And then 5 minutes later, well, I don't think that's a very good idea. How are you going to do that? Thank you very much for giving me this information, but it's not really helpful. So I'm going to just ask you to be quiet while I go forward. And I have found this way is the best way for me to deal with paradigms. Because if I say, no, I don't want to think about that, that which we resist will always persist. And the more we fight, and that the whole thing about these paradigms already is that it's negative chatter. You can't do that. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. My teacher told me I can't do that. My brother said this. My sister said this. My husband, my wife. It's already negative chatter. Almost all of the conversations we have in this world are with ourselves. And about 85% of those conversations are negative. So let's not fight a war. Yeah, they come in like little stealth bombers because they're just trying to nuke you from doing anything dangerous. But let's just acknowledge the mind as a thing in us that is just wanting to keep us safe. And just say thank you. But now I'm going to be the boss of me today. And I'll let you know if I need you. And I'll call on you if I need you to come in and protect me. But for right now, I'm going to make the decisions. And I found that ever since I've been doing this, paradigms are no longer my enemy because paradigms are in the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is what's breathing me right now. The subconscious mind is what's making my heart pump. The subconscious mind cannot be my enemy. The subconscious mind and all its tricky little paradigms has to become, I have to understand it. I don't have to be best friends with it, with the paradigms, but I have to understand them. And for me, this has made all the difference in shifting paradigms. That's how we begin to make new habits, by thinking. But we have to take control of the thinking mind.
Maybe I'll stop you there, Liza, and I agree with you about the paradigms. Sometimes we think they are like our enemy, although they are our best friends once we understand why they're there. You see, the slides we were sharing about the paradigm, it's a mental program that it will help you to do things automatically. So in case there is a fire, and when I see fire, automatically I need to run away because this is a protection. You see, let's say a lion, a tiger, you immediately run away. So it is a part for you to help you. It's really to protect you. Also, those paradigms is part of it, how we move our hands. Every time I need to see how I can move my hand, I should maybe put my shoulder, then arm, then breast, then blah. I cannot do that. I need things automatically. So paradigms are really best friends. Paradigms serving us at one area in our life. Maybe I started, I wasn't believing in myself to start speaking in front of people. So that was my own belief. Then I started building that confidence that I can speak. So this is a belief, a new belief. I upgraded. Then no, I want to become like Paddy, coaching in communication. So I need to upgrade because I was just afraid to speak in front of people. I start speaking. Then I need to be a coach like Paddy. So it's an upgrading, ongoing growth. So as you said, paradigm is our best friends. The moment we start use it for our benefits, the moment we start really helping us, that you don't need to think about it, just create the right habits, the right beliefs, then whoop, things will start moving.
And the reason you didn't want to speak in front of people is because your paradigms are saying, Mohammad, dear, I don't want you to fail. Mohammad, no, just stay at home and read a book on how to speak in public. It's much safer, dear. That's all it's doing. It's not a bad thing. And you have to say, thank you, but no, I'm going to change this. I'm going to step up. And then you step up again. So this has been a real aha moment for me since I've been doing thinking into results, is to just, and really studying in depth. I mean, Joseph Murphy's book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, is the book that really got me thinking, this paradigm business is not my enemy. This paradigm is I got to change them. I got to shift them. You're right. Some of them are in my way, but they're not bad. And tonight I had a client just before we came on, and really the company's really investing in him to go up this leadership track. And he's really come a long way in his communication. Oh, he's so good. And so he gave these 2 big presentations to the CEO and all the directors last week. And I said, how did it go? And he said, it went great. He said, but I was so afraid that they were going to ask me a question and I wouldn't know the answer. So we talked about it because we've had this conversation a year ago. And I said, look at how well you're doing. And yet this is called a paradigm. And it's something based probably on something that somebody said to you when you were a kid, that you felt embarrassed. And so now you've got this one little safety mechanism in there that's acting like an anchor. This company's trying to get you up to the top, and you're carrying around this thing that says, I don't want to make a fool of myself. Do you understand? It's just part of you protecting yourself, but you don't need it. So I gave him a home assignment. I said, when you come back next week, when you feel that, I want you to have one word to replace it. And he said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, the company's really invested in you. So when you feel that, if I were you, I'd say celebrate, because I would want to celebrate that the company is so invested in me that they're giving me leadership training from Oxford University, communication with me. They're invested in you because they see your greatness. You should celebrate. So instead of, as soon as you feel it, shift that paradigm and say, celebrate. And he started to laugh. He said, I think that'll work. I said, I think it'll work too. Rather than, well, why am I feeling this way? And who cares? Somebody said something to you a long time ago. It doesn't matter. Change it, shift it, but embrace it, because it's just you loving you saying, I don't want you to feel foolish. But it's an anchor. You're trying to get up there high and you've got this weight pulling you down. Just say celebrate. So we'll see what he comes back with next week. But to me, that's the way that we shift paradigms. We find the opposite, one word, one little phrase, and we say it right now. It's cognitive restructuring in medicine, right? It's called cognitive restructuring. Just find a way to think differently about what you're thinking. And we can do it.
Absolutely. Maybe one of the things also I'd like to share with people, some of the paradigms, when the people registered in this event, they shared some of these, which we all have them. One of them is about, how would I say it? Let me just slightly move, yeah. So some people, they have, this is a paradigm. They have, let's say, 1 time or 2 times failure. So they build a belief inside them that they should maybe thinking too much on something before taking an action. And this is a paradigm. They created a certain belief that is really holding them. Or I don't know about the technology, or I don't know how to research, and so on. Other people, they have this laziness or procrastinations. Tomorrow we will be discussing about the self-image and low self-esteem and self-confidence. These are part of the paradigm. About the skills, I don't know this and that. And because I don't know in marketing, I'm not good in sales, I cannot do this and that. So there is a different types of paradigms, I will say. And maybe one of the things, also one of my clients, he had a about how I would say a paradigm. Always he comes with brilliant ideas. When we showed the first slides about two goals and he want to achieve, he developed a belief that is really holding him back, which is a planning. I need to plan. Oh, my plan is not enough. No, I should not take action now. I should plan more. No, I forget this one. I need to take this course to plan. And he never takes an action. When I ask him why you are doing this, oh, I had two what's called investment opportunities and I failed, and everyone told me you did not plan it well. So this is why I need. So something has developed that belief, and this is what is holding him back to start working and taking actions. Although he should shift his paradigm. I know at one point planning is required, but you cannot know your plan is well or not till you take an action. Then you refine it. We always tell people, you never change your goal, but be flexible on your plan. That plan is not working. It's okay, change it, maybe a different route. I mean, like you. I mean, it's funny, Paddy. You want to be in the Middle East. You went to Oman, then came to Dubai. So, I mean, you want to have a setup here, all right, to help more people. You went that plan, then it did not work, but still the goal, the vision to have a company in the Middle East is the same thing. So you shift your plan and continue. And this is how people really achieve their goals.
You know, one of the things that I think men and women feel, and it's a huge paradigm, it's a global paradigm. And I felt it when I got on the plane coming the first time I came to the Middle East. Just not being enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough. And I remember I was so excited about coming to the Middle East the first time. And I was giving 7 presentations. And all of in my sleep, all the presentations were getting mixed up. And I'm giving the one for the women to the men in the company in Oman, and I'm getting all mixed up. And I was terrified, and I'd go, I don't know, what am I doing? What am I doing? Anyway, I'd say, because I'm good at talking myself up, and say, no, you're good. Don't worry. Just get everything clear. It'll be fine. Finally, I got on that airplane, and it was just taking off from Vancouver, and I was gripped with terror. If I could have smashed the window and jumped out of the plane, I would have. My mother. I could hear my mother. What in the name of God are you doing? That was one of her comments. What in the name of God are you doing? Who are you to think that you can go to the Middle East and tell them? And who are you to think you can go talk to those women? What makes you think you can go talk to those men? And I sat there, and now the plane has taken off. And this lasted probably 2.5, 3 hours. I mean, I was shaking. I felt sick to my stomach. I had a pounding headache. I couldn't sit still. I was just, and finally, because I work with a lot of clients, and I'm always saying, yeah, but you are enough. And it hit me. You're suffering from I'm not enough syndrome. So I said to myself, brought up my journal, and I wrote down, okay, what are you going to do? And it hit me like, you just have to, it was a shift in my paradigms. It's like, there's only one thing you can do. You go there, you open up your heart, you pour out everything that's in it, and you be yourself. And they're either going to love you or they're not, and there's nothing you can do about it. Give them everything you have, and it's either going to be enough or not. And I calmed down, and the rest, as you know, is history. And I have found that you're not enough syndrome is one of the biggest paradigms, men or women. And it manifests like years ago when I was asked to teach to create a women's women in leadership program for women in Europe. And I thought, well, why, women in Europe, I always think of them as strong. I'm like, why aren't they standing up for leadership? So I did a little survey. And I promise you, every response from 22 women every response had the words not enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough time. I'm not enough not enough, not enough. And I remember because I printed them all up and I just threw them up in the air in my office in Vancouver. And I said, not enough already. You are enough. And I wrote the program called You Are Enough. And I think when I first met Julius, if I'm correct, I don't know which speech that you were at, but that was the name of that talk that I gave, is that you are enough. Now, I find this is one of the biggest paradigms that gets us all the time. I think this and the fear of failure, fear of making a fool of ourselves, fear of success, fear, not enough, not enough, not enough. Those are the things that prevent the beautiful souls on this beautiful planet from not accomplishing their beautiful goals. And I want to say, shift it. You are enough. There's nothing to be afraid of but fear itself. Was it, who said that? Was it Winston Churchill? Somebody like that said it, but it's true.
It's true. Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the other things that people also, why we are emphasizing more on the paradigm, because we call it, it's like your mental barrier. So this is like a barrier for you for growth. And you will see that paradigms goes in every part of our life. Anything you think about it, it touches it. So it's have your ability to earn, your perception, using the time, creativity, effectiveness. So if I want to take, for example, the use of time, and this is why many clients are coming, hey, I'm overloaded, I don't have enough time, blah, blah, because we are, how do I say, programmed, or we've been raised with the habit that you need to manage your time over 24 hours. So you need to manage it. But there's no management of time because we all having 24 hours. Why I'm not able to achieve things while Paddy for example, 8 hours, she's more productive than me. So what the heck, what certain belief habits does Paddy productive people has that I don't have? So and that was some limitation to me. It's like that red barrier. The moment I start changing my belief, where I understood, for example, about the time management, there's no time management. You are managing activities. The moment I start putting all the activities I want to achieve or planning my day tomorrow, I start tracking them from 1 to 10. And the first thing in the morning, I start with the most important thing, then go to the next, then the third. I found out by the end of the day, I have been more productive in completing many things that I wasn't doing that part. And that moment had increased my productivity. And this is why we said those paradigms is like putting you in a box. The moment you change your belief or habits, it's like a freedom. You will see you're going for a next level in your life. You want to add something, Paddy?
Not really, but about our guests this evening, how is any of this resonating with either or both of you? I've never met a soul who did not have something blocking them. Go ahead, Julius.
Yes, hello, Miss Patty. Good evening, and Sir Muhammad and Miss Joanne. Well, actually, while listening to both of you, it's just like I had an outline in my mind that's running in my head. The topics that you were discussing, and one of those are when you say it's not enough, and one of the songs that's my favorite is Never Enough, actually. So a part of my personal story is just like my family keep asking me why you are not contented with your life choice. Yet they had no idea what I have been through because I'm the youngest in the family. And most of my sisters and my brothers, they are achievers. So I feel like I've been underestimated of what I'm capable of. And I wanted to prove myself. And that's the reason why I went to Dubai. And I wanted to show them that I can stood up on my own feet and I can do this. You don't have to worry on me, and let me do the things that I haven't done so that I can learn. So that's one of the things that I running on my head. So thank you for asking my opinion, Miss Patty and Sir Mohammed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, families, they can really give it to you. What about you, Joanne?
Yeah, I can really relate to that and what you were saying. Comparisonitis is another, is kind of the not enough, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I've been I can easily get myself overwhelmed with lots of different projects, and I've found too that, like you were saying, if you put things into like manageable steps for the day and then tick them off. I love tick boxes. It does help you get through the day a lot easier than if you just see this great long list of everything you need to do.
Sometimes I think when we don't do that and we get all hung up on time management, I actually think it's just a way of self-sabotage. Like, I'll just go helter-skelter because then I won't be able to accomplish it. And then, see, I told you, Patty, you can't do it. See, I told you you're not good enough. See, I told you. So I think that we self-sabotage is a pattern of all of these paradigms are just ways to keep us back here. And it's so easy, you know, and that can be changed. I'm going to just tell one brief story, and I think Mohammad has heard this, but when I was 14, I had a really bad head injury and I had a blood clot and I ended up in the hospital for months and I lost my speech and my coordination and everything. And I finally came back to school, and the principal of the school was my math teacher. I'd missed all of trigonometry and algebra, so I didn't know any of it. And then she'd make me get up in front of the class and try to solve these mathematical problems, and I couldn't because I'd been in the hospital. So she made me wear a dunce cap on my head. So I can hardly do arithmetic now, much less math. It's a paradigm. But there was another thing that she did. She believed that all of us in grade 9, all 75 of us, we had to be in the glee club and we had to sing. And she was putting on a big concert in the school, and we had to sing Climb Every Mountain from the movie The Sound of Music. And you have to be like a soprano like Julie Andrews to sing that song. And here I am with this husky male kind of voice. And she didn't like me. And she put me in with the sopranos. And I mean, it was terrible. It was just like, I'm surprised the windows weren't breaking because I just couldn't get up that high with this deep voice. So one day in front of all of the kids, I mean, I'm 14, I already had my head injury, lost my coordination, felt like a spaz. I hate that word, but I felt that way. And she said, class, tap, 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 you know, on the thing there with her little stick. She's tap, class, don't you think Patty has a terrible voice? Don't you think she should just move her lips? I was 14. All my life, I really wanted to sing, not be a singer on stage, but I wanted to sing. But I never would sing. I'd sing in the shower. If anybody heard me, I would be I'd die of embarrassment. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'd apologize for singing. Well, finally, about 50, in my 50s, I thought, this is ridiculous. This woman has been dead for years and she's still in control of my vocal cords. So a dear friend of mine in Vancouver is a jazz singer, and she teaches women how to sing. So I joined the class and I was terrified. And I got there and she said, Patty, don't try to sing with the sopranos. You're an alto. Oh, is that what you call it? Okay. And do you know, she got me singing with all the women. And do you know what she said to me and to all the women? She said, gals, isn't Patty's alto voice beautiful? Aren't we glad to have it in our choir? And I thought, damn, for all these years, I let that nun, she was a nun, Mother Marie Leo, I let that nun control my vocal cords. And all I needed was for one person to say, what a beautiful alto voice. These things can control us, whether we want them to or not. Just one little, the dunce cap in math, I haven't gotten over that. I've tried to do math. It's just too much. It hurts my brain, actually. But the singing, I had to take back my power from her. And I just share that story because that's just how easy and how damaging one person can say one thing that evolves the emotion, because the subconscious mind and paradigms are all to do with emotion. And the emotion, the dying of embarrassment I felt. Remember, I had already lost my coordination. I had lost my speech. I was the laughing stock of the school before they knew what was wrong with me. Then I had to wear the dunce cap. And then I had this thing happen to me. And it took me like 40 some years to get over that paradigm.
Wow. Yeah, this is really amazing. So it's part of the paradigm that we let other people's opinion become our reality.
Yep. Yep.
Because, I mean, you said this about me. Okay, this is a fact. I consider it's a fact, although it's an opinion. You gave me only an opinion, but this is how it happens with many kids when they raise it. They have a bad teacher, rather than encouraging, they're putting those mental programs on them, limiting them. Yeah.
And she was Mother Superior. I mean, she just wasn't some nun. She was Mother Superior. So she really, and I did she know? She probably knew. She probably didn't care. But that's beside the point. You're right. It's how we can let external voices become fact based on no evidence. There's no evidence, but we can, because it's emotional. It gets immediately connected to feelings of worth, and boom, you got a lifetime paradigm. You're not good enough.
True. Maybe
we all have that.
Yeah, we all have that.
Yeah.
So just to continue, just 2 slides, then I will open maybe the discussion, a few things. This is for people who's not known. We call it, this is the stick person, which is representing the bigger circle is our mind. It's not in our head, it is in every cell of the body, like Paddy said. And the small circle is our body. And the body is the instrument of the mind. So here it is have 2 parts. We call it the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And this is the body. The conscious mind is our thinking mind. And our thinking mind, there is some antenna where we get all the information from outside, where all these our sensory factors like hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. Now, the subconscious mind is our feeling, where we have all what we call program paradigms, our beliefs, mindsets, habitual behaviors, self-values. All of these are embedded in our subconscious mind. And now these are, we're not going to discuss in details how it's been created, but it happens from the environment, from some people's opinion that it's become a certain belief, maybe certain experience, repeated failures created some belief that I'm not enough, and so on. And one of the important things that we need to know that 96 of our results, when you look at it during the day, that we're doing many things without thinking, is created through our paradigm. Those mental programs are really creating 96% of our results. The important fact is as follows. Nothing will change with your results. If you want to upgrade, go for something in you until you make a shift to your paradigm. So this is some slides I thought to share. Now, Paddy, what do you think? How can I find what are those paradigms? Based on your experience, you run with many things, you did the different grades, upgrades. So how do you know that you have a paradigm and it's limiting you?
Well, because paradigms are so connected to feelings, that when you're about to do something and you've got a feeling inside you, and it's different from intuition. Intuition is that's a mental faculty. But when you get like a negative feeling, I can't do this. This is too hard. This isn't going to work. These are paradigms. Because the power, the magnificent power of our mind, I mean, not anything is possible. I always say, if I want today to become an Olympic skier, it ain't going to happen. It's got to be something within my reality. But I wanted to move to Dubai and made that happen. If it's something that's within my reality, or when I got on that plane to come to the Middle East, and with those feelings of, well, who are you? I mean, who the hell is, my mother would say, who the hell do you think you are that you're going to go teach these people? That's a paradigm. Why? Because it doesn't feel good. That's how I always know. Because when it's right and I've got it in my belly that this feels good, I know that I'm on the right track. But when I get into that, I don't think I can do it. It's a negative self-talk. For me, that's how I know the paradigms. And then what happens is the paradigms that cause a feeling in the body. And then the body feels a certain way and it goes out and it acts that way. So when I'm feeling like I'm not good enough, you better believe that I'm going to go out there in the world acting like I'm not good enough, because that's my vibration. And so you know my results are going to be because I'm thinking I'm not good enough. So if you don't like the results that you're getting, you got to look at where you're at, the way you're acting, and the way you're acting is directly connected to your feelings. And your feelings are coming from the subconscious mind. You see, the conscious mind, it can reject or it can accept. You can listen to the news and you can say, I don't want to hear that anymore, and turn it off. But the subconscious mind, if you say you're not good enough, okay, I'm not good enough. It doesn't argue with you. Whatever you give that subconscious mind, it will believe, and it will immediately turn it into a feeling. Yeah, I can't do it. No, I can't do it. And then you'll go out and you'll act like you can't do it. Or someone says, what, are you crazy, Joanne? You can't be a photographer in a pandemic. You can't take shots of Pamela over there in San Francisco. Don't be crazy. But you knew you could. But if you had had that, no, I don't think it'll work, you wouldn't have done it. That would have been your behavior. But when you think, wait a second, what are you talking about? I think I can do this. Then you behave and you do it. And what happens? Bada bing, it happens. It becomes a reality. So the subconscious mind, the conscious mind is the thinking mind. It uses logic. It uses all those things. The subconscious mind, if you say, I'm fat and ugly, I'm no good, I'm lazy, I don't know how to manage time, whatever it is you're telling it, it'll go, okay, that's good, thank you. And it'll accept it. It doesn't have the ability to argue with you. It cannot reject what you are saying. And it will be manifest immediately as a feeling. So that's how I know. Because I know from when I taught Qigong and meditation, that every thought has an immediate corresponding feeling. It's the neurochemistry of thinking.
Sure.
So when I think in a positive way, I get a positive in my belly. And when I think in a negative way, it's going to have an immediate corresponding chemical reaction. For example, they've studied tears. Tears of anger, tears of sadness, and tears of joy are all three completely different chemical composition. Tears of anger are filled with an acid. Tears of joy aren't. Immediate neurochemical reaction happens in your body according to your thoughts. So for me, I know my paradigms when I watch my posture. That means I'm fighting a paradigm that's not good. Whereas when I'm like this and I'm sitting up, I've got a paradigm going on that says I'm good. I feel it, I can see it, and I know that I'm going to act that way. So it's really important to change your thinking, change your body. Change your thoughts, change your paradigms, change your thoughts, change your life. I mean, there's so many books about this. And it's true, and it's science. There is a neurochemical response to every thought you have, and that thought becomes a feeling, and that feeling becomes an action, and the action becomes a result. If you don't like the result, tell the truth about the result. You got to know yourself, to thine own self be true. What's the feeling I had going in? Oh, I wasn't feeling good enough. Well, what was I thinking? Oh, I was thinking I shouldn't sing because she said I was no good. Oh, let me go. So it goes down. And if you want to change it, you got to take it back up and change the way you're thinking, because the thought will dictate the feeling will dictate the action will give you the result. Science.
It's a science. Totally agree. For me, what I normally do, Paddy, I mean, my own experience about how I find my paradigm. I start maybe with the goals like yesterday, and I see, okay, what I'd like to achieve, for example, the next 6 months. Let's say I want to set up a company. So immediately, as you said, when you start thinking about that company, you start feeling that, well, I'm not good enough. I don't have the money. I don't have any experience. So things are coming to my mind why I cannot do it. So I immediately know that these are some paradigms that are holding me back from getting and working towards my company. So I list them down. Then the second step, when I list those down, I look on them and again, I rank them, which is one or two beliefs or habits. If I focus, I can still get me through. I know there are many paradigms, but just also always for me, I'd like to work on one or two habits, beliefs, and start developing them, because these will create like a quantum change rather than not start working on my company. No, I start, changing this. I'm good enough. I needed maybe to believe about the idea and so on, and start developing those habits and beliefs. This is how, for me, it really helped me. For example, when I start, maybe some of the stories, Joanna and Julie's, I start running when I was at age of 49. I never ran. The last time I was playing at high school, and that's it. So I didn't do any sport. And I don't know, I had a dream that I'd like to run marathon or half marathon. I never tried it. I don't know. But anytime I was asking people, are you crazy? You are 49. You're too old. You look like a kid running. Well, especially in our culture, this is something, come on, you're an old guy. You cannot do these things. So I started changing those beliefs and developing the right habits. So I was picking up what was holding me back. It was mainly two things: changing. I will not put my age as my cage. So age, put it aside. I work on that one. And there was something I needed to be disciplined on daily basis. I need to train myself. Those two habits, there's others, but those two things has really shifted me, that I start taking action towards my goal. And I managed to run, my first half marathon when I was 49. Then the second year I ran 3 half marathon and so on. So it's become like a part of me, but this is how I start, finding out, starting with the goal, seeing what is really holding me back to start achieving it and start working on it.
What I love about this, it just hit me. What I love about this conversation is I come from the art world. And as a figure skater, it's all about feeling. I mean, that's how you manage to stay on the ice, is all through feeling. And you're an engineer, which is, and yet it doesn't matter which direction you come from it, whether it's feeling or cognitive or somewhere in between. I mean, you have your way and I have my way, and yet we get to the same result. So this tells me that there's not like my way or Mohammed's way, but that we all have to find our own way. It's about knowing yourself, isn't it? It's really about, and it's the hardest part maybe of this work, is to just sit down, especially with these paradigms, and say, okay, what is my thought process and why? Is it because my culture says you can't do that at 49? Or is it because I get a feeling when I think this way? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you've got to thine own self, as Shakespeare said, and it may be in the Bible, but I know Shakespeare said it, to thine own self be true. And this is the hardest part because, you know, Bob always quotes, I forget who it is, Bob Proctor, God love him, may he rest in eternal peace. I remember the first time I heard him say this. Like, the problem with the world, as Albert Schweitzer said, is that people just don't want to think. They just don't like thinking. And so what is the statistic? Let me see now. 2% of the people actually think. 3% of the people think they think. And 95% of the people would rather die than think. And this is thinking not just, oh, I think I'll have ice cream, or I think I'll go to, not that kind of thinking, but who am I? What do I want? What is the paradigm that's the thinking? And you've got to know who you are, and it takes bravery. I mean, if it were easy, everybody would be reaching their goals. And yet, once you get going, and once you befriend yourself, because, you know, Mohammad knows, for me, everything comes back to self-love. Can't do any of this if you're not loving yourself. You just got, to me, this is the whole reason of living, is to find out how can I love myself and quit treating myself like I'm an idiot, like I've been told a million times, right? It's the greatest journey. But you really, it takes bravery and it takes courage to be in that 2% that will really think and say, what is this paradigm? Does it matter where it came from? Maybe to help you understand. But Wayne Dyer, another late great, oh, we're losing so many of our great teachers, but that means that we all have to become the great teachers. Wayne Dyer said, we do not get rid of our weaknesses by focusing on them. We get rid of our weaknesses by focusing on our strengths, which is why I told my client today, when the next time that little voice comes in about, I don't want to feel embarrassed, we just say, celebrate. Because it's no point anymore going, well, why do I do that? Who cares why you do it? I mean, if you can get the answer, you had Mother Marie Leo told you couldn't sing and you sounded bad. Okay. But I let that go on that long when all I had to do was, like 40 years before, say, I'm going to take a singing class. I mean, I could have done it. So, you know, it takes time, and it doesn't matter if you come from an engineer's mind or a figure skater's mind or a photographer's mind or an artist's mind or a mathematician's mind. It doesn't matter. It's to have that courage to love yourself and know yourself, because you're worth it. You're worth it. As we, you know, Mary Morrissey, all those great teachers remind you all the time that in all of time, there will never be another Julius. There'll never be another Joanne. There'll never be another Mohammad. There'll never be another Paddy. Ever, ever. Gotta love it. So I guess that's what I'm, you know, the thing about paradigms, and we've seen this in this program, I've been studying with Bob on and off, mainly on since 1995. It's the paradigms that stop people from going forward. And it's that getting into, well, I always think like this, it's never going to work. I'm such a, it's self-defeating. It takes courage and bravery to say, wait a second, I'm worth way more than that. I'm worth way more than that. If I weren't, I wouldn't be here. I would never have been born.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paddy. Maybe we'll open questions now. If you, Joanne, have any questions, Julius, just feel free to ask about the topic, anything you have in your mind. So you're okay. I mean, so what do you think? I mean, what new things have you learned today? Also, yeah, go ahead, Joanne. You want to?
Oh, yeah. There's no, I mean, definitely a lot to think about, but no specific burning questions at the moment. Just a lot of different.
Yeah, I'm like you. I don't have, when I do these things, I just absorb and absorb and absorb. I don't go, I'm not a questioner right away. I'm like a sponge, just,
yeah.
And then I go away and think about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you.
And what about you, Mr. Julius?
You're so formal, Miss Paddy. For me, one thing that I had learned through this discussion, for each word that I've been hearing, I had this kind of connection for each story, for each explanation that you both telling us, and I really had this kind of connection. And I had something in my head that I'm about to say, but I'm some kind of stuck up. But one thing that I learned actually is for keeping myself to be in track, how to put myself back in my motivation, because basically what I'm going through right now, it's just like, okay, Jules, you had done a lot of things. Then what's next? How are you going to to sustain of what you have? That's the question. That's the struggle that I have right now, and I've been trying to find ways on how to sustain the stability that I had managed before. So it's been a week. I've been getting out of my home. I've been fixing a lot of documents because I have this list that I had need to accomplish in a matter of time. So I'm so thankful that after almost a year of taking a rest, now I'm keeping myself in track. And I even go for exercise every day. I even go for cardio and weightlifting just to keep myself in figure. And I'm getting out everywhere at least twice a week, enjoying nature. And one of the good things that I had learned through this pandemic is how to value our life. What else that we can do for more? And that's my eye opener. When pandemic started, I can't imagine myself that I had climbed up a 3,000 steps in Ras Al Khaimah Dam. It's a 3,000 steps from 4 o'clock in the morning, and I end up around 8 o'clock in the morning. It's from 4 to 8. I've been walking for 3,000 steps. But getting back in the Philippines, I had done parasailing, of which I never done before. It's just like, wow, someone has to pull you up, and you cannot even imagine what kind of emotion you had to bring in when you are bringing up in the air. It's just like a 30 feet higher. And and I was thinking I wanted to do for more. I wanted to go for scuba diving. What else? Because I really wanted to enjoy my life. I really had to experience everything in a good way, in a responsible way, with the boundaries, not the other way around. So that's it. Thank you.
Really like it that you're saying like what else and what's next. I mean, those are really, really, really good questions to ask yourself because they keep you alive and they keep you on the move and searching, right? Joanne's camera is gone. Is that what I just saw the message? You just need
No,
to
no, she comment she need looking for her charger because her laptop might go off now. Okay.
Well, I guess, but go ahead, Mohammed.
No, I think I like what they shared. I mean, for me, there's nothing more to add now. You want to share any additional things? Tomorrow we will continue.
Tomorrow we'll go on with self-image, which is the next. Self-image is it's a really important thing. But I guess what I want you both to take away, and anybody on Facebook watching this, is it's okay to have these paradigms. It's okay. Just embrace yourself and remind yourself that just, you see it on Facebook every once in a while. Don't believe everything your mind tells you because a lot of times it's just not true. So embrace yourself and love yourself, because if you don't, you're going to make the road forward even harder. To go out into this big old world and accomplish your big dreams, even if the world was a perfect place, it would still take a lot of courage. But the world is a difficult place. And the world, just one last little story, how the world is geared. All of us are geared to kind of look for the negative. So many years ago, I think it was 1995, and I was in Los Angeles, and Bob Proctor was giving a seminar. And it was before we had any of this technology. And he had a big whiteboard there on the stage, and he was doing simple math. 9 and 3 is 12, 7 and 6 is 13, all this simple math. And he did a whole arithmetic, really, not math. And he did a whole long list of them. And then he put like 9 and 4 is 15. And 2,000 people in the auditorium all at once said, "You made a mistake." He said, "Now, isn't that interesting? Because I just got all of these right. You never said a word. I make one little tiny mistake and 2,000 of you are reminding me that I made a mistake." Now, sure, part of it was because we didn't want him to be embarrassed over making a silly mistake. But it was the fact that 2,000 of us, all in one nanosecond, hollered out, "You made a mistake." I'll never, ever forget that moment. And especially, you know, if you ever saw him, the way he turned around and looked at us, it was like, uh-oh, that was, uh-oh. But it's just, and the whole point of that was we must be careful when we go out in the world to pursue our big worthy goals, because everybody is, the world is geared to see, you can't do that. Long distance photography, really? Ha ha, what a joke. Who are you trying to kid? What, you want my money for? They're just, it's just the way that we are somehow programmed. So the world is going to come at you with their paradigms. Therefore, it's in our best interest to deal with our own paradigm and come to that place of courage and self-knowledge and self-respect and self-love and say, it's okay, I can do it. My old Qigong master used to teach us to say, this is easy, I can do it. And that becomes a mantra for me when people say you can't do it. Is that right, Joanne? Somebody said, yeah, of course, because like long distance photography, yeah, right, sure. Like you're going to be in UK and I'm going to be in Dubai. Yeah, right. You're going to take pictures of me down in Marina. She's going to one of these days soon. We're going to go down. I'm going to be in Marina and she's going to take pictures of me because I just have to have my little Huawei camera with a really good camera lens. And she'll be able to do that. See, people are ready to say that all the time. Mother Marie Leo's, God rest her soul, they are everywhere. Making you wear a dunce cap because you're stupid or embarrassing you because you can't hit high C. They're everywhere. You gotta know yourself, gotta love yourself. So you're in good company. Mohammad and I have paradigms. I still have them. I still deal with it. We always will.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Paddy. Thanks, Joanne and Julius. So this is for today. Tomorrow we will continue, as Paddy mentioned, about the self-image. We will discuss more. This is also an interesting topic. The moment you understand it, how you can really do a shift and build your own self-image. And we are trying all to link the paradigm self-image to the main goal, which is by day one. So you can see they're connected back to your goal. And important really for people to have clear goals, because this is where they start seeing the growth, and there is where all the happiness that people will start realizing. People without a goal, or they don't know what they're happening, so they're become a play of the surroundings. Everyone is doing something and he doesn't care, okay, this and that. Right, so enjoy the rest of the day or the evening. And looking forward for our meeting tomorrow. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Thanks for coming.
See you tomorrow. Yeah.